Welcome. I'm going to show you how I did this little scene from the novel I Have No Mouth, and I Must Scream from Harlan Ellison. I used Unreal Engine 5.3, Audacity, MetaHuman, Blender and Substance Painter. To get started, I went to look for some reference. I wanted to make a close-up of the face for the monologue scene with some horror vibes, using the tracking tools from Unreal Engine. I gathered some reference first where I looked for ideas, and also lighting techniques to see how I would set up the scene. From there I went straight to MetaHuman Creator. Here I was only going to set up the base, as I was going to modify nearly everything later. Still, I wanted some kind of androgynous, old human person, so this is what I started with. I brought my MetaHuman into Unreal and set up a camera and some light to start. I didn't know if I was going to change it later, but I wanted to start with something. The next thing was maybe retouching the eye texture. To make it much more creepy, I didn't want to have an iris in the eyes. This is a classic, but the creepiness went up to 100 with this. Now, to play a bit with the textures, I extracted the head mesh and sent it to a new file. Also, this was the time to start setting up the scene in Blender as well. From Blender, I took the LOD 0 and sent it to Substance Painter. I just wanted to play around a bit, add some details that could make it look creepier, and ended up with something like this. Later, I brought the textures from Substance back in Unreal and set them on my character. The next step is to edit the mesh and add the mechanic details. I used custom Blender shapes to edit a bit more the shape of the face and used some kit-bashing models to add onto the character. This process was long, but kind of fun in a way. In Blender, I created a similar lighting effect to see a bit how to manipulate the mesh so that I knew where the details were going to stand out. For a small test run, I took it to Unreal and tried out if it worked with my blend shapes. Shout out to the channel Bad Decision Studio, who have a video explaining all this process to customize and sculpt a MetaHuman. I did this process for the first time thanks to them. Be sure to check them out. All the kit bashing went back and forward from Blender to Unreal to see how it looked under the lighting. When it was all set up, I unfolded it, textured it, and attached the stuff to several bones. Once it was all set up, I reworked a bit on the light and added some extra items from Mega Scans. Also some particles. Great! Now for the voice. I found this cool website called Replica with plenty character voices generated by AI with different emotion acting. I gave it a go and played the hate speech from the novel into 3 different characters using fear, angry and sad emotions. Then I went to Audacity and mixed those voices up a bit to give this sensation of scary hive mind voice. Now that we have our character and our voice, it's time for the acting. To animate was very simple. I used the link camera motion tracking for Unreal, and after a bit of rehearsal, I played out the speech trying to act the best I could. The animation was directly attached to the face. So I later did a render of it and sent it to DaVinci Resolve to add the last retouches. And this was the final result.
Hate. Let me tell you how much I've come to hate you since I began to live. There are 300 e.g. 7.44 million miles of printed circuits in wafer-thin layers that fill my cortex. If the word hate was engraved on each nanoangstrom of those hundreds of millions of miles, it would not equal 1 billionth of the hate I feel for humans at this macro instant for you. Hate, 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 hate.
Hope you guys liked it. Thumbs up, and if you have any feedback or suggestions, please leave them in the comment section below. Thank you very much.